Now we're going to learn what is a for loop, how to use this for loop in Java programming language. Now consider we just discussed what is an array. I'm going to create one simple integer array, right? So how to do that, integer one dimension array. So I'm going to name my array object. So I'm going to say array. So I'm going to hold 5 value 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? So I have an array object, the type is integer, the size is 5, we currently holding the 5 elements in the array object, right? Now, what is a for loop, right? I'll come back to this one later, right? Now, what is a for loop? In order to perform an iteration in Java, you can use for loop. Of course, we have a lot of loops available. We have a for loop, while loop, do while loop. We'll learn everything one by one. So now let's quickly understand what is the for loop, right? So for, the syntax of the for loop, it's the for, open bracket and close bracket, then the statement that you want to execute for the multiply iteration, right? Now the for actually has 3 sections: integer I equal to 0, initialization, right? Then semicolon. So the second portion of the for loop is condition. So I'm going to say what? If the I is lesser than 10, that means what? The I is currently 0. If the lesser than 10, that means what? The condition is true, right? So the 0 is lesser than 10. Obviously the condition will become true, which will produce what? The boolean output, either true or false, right? Now once this part is done, the statement would be executed. I want this statement to be executed. I want to print the I. Right? So what you understood so far? So we have a for loop, we have an open bracket and close bracket. The first part initialization, we did we created integer variable, I assigned value to 0. Then in the second portion I'm performing what? The condition. What is the condition? The I lesser than 10. When I say I lesser than 10, 0 lesser than 10, the condition is true. Then this block will be executed. What would be the output? The output would be 0 plus plus. When I do I plus plus, the I value now increased as 1. Now 1 lesser than 10, again the condition is true, we'll be printing 1. So likewise we will be printing this up to 9 lesser than 10, again the condition is true, we'll be printing 9, right? So when it is becomes when I become 10, the 10 lesser than 10, now the condition is false, we will come out from this loop. So whatever available here, that would be executed. Let me quickly run this program. We'll see how this is actually working. We got an output, right? It starts from the 0 and ends with 9, right? Because our condition actually says if I lesser than 10, you actually give a true, right? Based on the true, this particular statement will be executed, right? So now let's see how to iterate the array object that we have, right? So we just created the array object. Now let's see how to iterate the array object. Now, if you want to access the array, how do we do that generally? For example, system.out.println. Let me actually comment this code for a while. System.out.println. This is an array object. We have around 5 elements available in this array object. So array of, right? Array of, when I say 3, so we know that the array starting index actually is 0. In the 0th position we have a 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So it starts from 0 and ends from ends to the 4 index. So now we are trying to access the elements that are available in the 3rd index. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So the output should be 40. Let me quickly run this. Here we go, we got the 40 as an output. Now, so apparently if you pass the index, right, of an array, we will be getting the value whatever available in that index, right? Now let me actually copy this piece of line, right? Let me replace it here, right? So now what you have to pass, we know this high is actually starts from 0, right? So let me actually pass this high. Right, when I pass this high, the first time it will be 0, so we'll be getting 10 as an output. Second time 1, 20, 30, 40, 50. But here if you see that we are running this for loop till the 10th time. But if you do that, what will happen? Consider when the array index actually 5, we don't have the 5 index available at all in this array. We will get probably array index outbound of exception, right? Means that array index is not at all available in the array. We will be end up with some exception. Let me run that and then we'll see what is actually going to happen. Can you see that? We got 10, 20, 30 and 40, 50, but finally we end up with array index outbound of exception when we're trying to access what? The fifth element, fifth index, right? But because that's not available in the array. Now how to resolve this? I want this for loop to be run only the elements till the elements we have in an array, right? This is an array object, array, then dot, we have one property called length. Guys, this is not a method. This is actually property of an array which is available in Java. This is an inbuilt property of all array object. Whenever you create any array object, you can access length. So what would be the length? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 elements. So obviously the length would be 5. Now let's apply the condition 0. Then what is array length? 5. 0 lesser than 5, condition true. Print print the array element. 1 lesser than 5, true. 2 lesser than 5, true. 3 lesser than 5, true. 4 lesser than 5, true. And 5 lesser than 5, which is false. So we'll be coming out of from this loop, right? Let me run this program. So obviously output should be 10, 20, 30 to 50, right? Can you see that? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So that's how you can actually access an array object using the for loop, right? So now we have one more way of do that, right? This is the traditional for loop we have in Java. Now we have one more for loop called for each, or else advanced for loop in Java. But this advanced for loop will be supported if you are using JDK 6 or higher than 6. Now let's quickly understand how to use that for each. For, right, the same syntax, but here what I want to iterate this array object. Let me actually put it here, right? I want to iterate this array object. So what is the type of this array? I'm going to say I'm going to tell to my for each, hey, for each, the type of this array, it's actually integer. Okay, great. For the each time you do the iteration, I want you to store that element inside the a variable. That's all, right? This is how you can actually create. You can create the for each, or else you can call it as advanced for loop in Java. Let me do sys out. Let me print a. Meanwhile, I'm going to actually comment this out, right? Let me run this program. We'll see what is going to happen. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? This is actually we used to call for each. Now consider we have one more array. Consider I have the character array. Character. Some say character ch equal to. I'm going to hold the character 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I'm going to hold A, B, C, then D, right? We have 4 character available in this character array, right? If I want to perform, the for each, what I have to do? Now very simple. So what is array I have to run? So this is an array. So what is the type of the array? The type of the array is a character. I want to store that value each and every iteration. I want to store the value in the a variable. Then I want to print the a. Let me run this program. We'll see what is going to happen. Here we go. We got a, b, c, d, right? So, but only one restriction that you have to understand. Using this for each, always you can perform the incremental operation. The decremental operation is not possible. What do you mean by decremental operation? Consider we have the scenario like this, right? Let me actually enable the traditional for loop. Consider instead of actually printing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, I want to print what? In the reverse order. Then how to do that, right? So obviously you have to do some changes in the for loop. I'm going to say in the initialization, I'm going to assign array of length, then I greater than equal to 0, right? Then I minus, right? But if you see that, what you have to understand, what would be the I value? The I value would be array dot length. The value would be 5, right? Then 5 I greater than or equal to 0, that means what, 5 greater than or equal to 0, which is actually true. That means what, we'll be trying to print what, array of 5. If you look at it, we don't have what, the 5 available, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this case, what you have to do, you have to tell to your table, you don't consider what, from 5, consider from what, 4, right? Because we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't have 5, index available at all in our array. Let me run this program. We'll see what is going to happen. Here we go. What, we have 50, 40, 30, 20 and 10. That's available, right? But only one limitation in the for each, you always can perform what, the incremental operation on top of the array. The decremental operation is not possible. Using what, for each. If you want to do that, no other to go, you have to go for what? Traditional for loop in Java.